Hey guys, welcome to my podcast. I'm so excited to be back. I have been on a bit of a hiatus because I have been writing my book, and today I have an amazing friend with me, Miss Amanda Hayhurst. I just want to introduce
Hello.
her. Hey girl, how are you?
Good. I'm so excited to be here with you.
Yes, I'm so excited you're on. I met Amanda last year at a women's conference called She Speaks. It's a Lisa Turker-Hurst event. And I had stepped way out of my comfort zone and I went to North Carolina by myself. My parents, even though I'm 37 years old, they were not happy with me at all. They acted like I was in trouble because they worried. Parents, and I know now that I have teenagers, I know parents worry. Your husband worries whenever you're driving alone 7 hours by yourself. But I feel like God completely intricately put together people in my path whenever I was there because had the I had a whim that I was going to write my book last year, and I did. Y'all know from my podcast that I can be scattered, I can be a mess, but the one thing that I stuck with was a dream that God put on my heart years ago to write this book. So I bought my ticket and I went like no questions asked. I didn't really think it all through, but my best friend was going to meet me there. Well, whenever I go in to She Speaks and I sit down, I get a text that something comes up and she can't go. So I had arranged on the group like a dinner for complete strangers, whoever wanted to come. There was another group there was another dinner date that was full. So I said, well, I'll just make my own reservation. Well, God sends me Amanda at my table. So I want you to tell him about that.
Yes, I don't even remember how I heard about the dinner, but I'm kind of the same way. Like when I go to an event, I'm like, I want to meet people. Like if I'm here, one of the best
Yes,
things about an event is you get to make new friends. I feel like that's like
absolutely.
the invaluable part of it.
Yes.
So I'm always looking for, where are people eating at? And I think I did ask someone like, hey, do you know of anyone, having dinner tonight? And she told me, yeah, I think there's one at, was it like a Mexican restaurant we went
Yes, it was
to?
called Superica is what it was called. And I had just saw it online,
Yes.
but this is where there was like another group from She Speaks going there, but it was full. The reservation was full. So I was like, I'm just going to make my own. And girl, when I walked in, that was probably one of the most uncomfortable things because when I went in, of course, people say, well, I'm going to try to come. I'm going to try to come. So I called this restaurant and arranged like a big long table. And I can remember walking
Yes.
in, I was the only one. I was like, what if I have arranged this entire table and nobody shows up? But yes, it was at the
Hilarious.
little Mexican. It was a cute little like chips and
So
queso
good.
tacos. It was really good. Yeah,
I could eat Mexican honestly every single day.
me too.
It's the one food where I'm like, I could eat it every single day and be fine.
Me
Perfectly
too.
fine.
I joke to my
Mm-hmm.
husband and I'm like, no matter how mad you make me, like ever, like some women love flowers. I will never turn down Mexican food. So like if you want to go, there's been a
Mm.
lot of times where he's brought
Yes.
home, bring me fajitas. Like forget the
Bring
flowers,
me,
bring me some fajitas,
yes.
you know?
And make sure you bring the cheese dip. Like don't
Oh,
don't forget the cheese
absolutely.
dip. That's the best part. Yeah. And I'm
Yes.
also a guacamole person because I love a good
I
like
love
tableside guacamole.
guacamole. Me too. And some fresh
Yes.
salsa.
Now I
It's
want
the best.
Mexican.
Me too, girl. So we need to go back there this summer. That's what we need to do.
Yes.
When we go to She Speaks, we need to plan it. Um,
Yes.
but whenever I had went in and sat down at this big long table, I was thinking, oh my gosh, like I prayed about it, but it was, sometimes God calls us out of our comfort zones, and this was definitely out of my comfort zone. But I walked in, and I was
Mhm.
like, what if I have arranged this big long table and nobody shows up? Well, one by one, women start flooding in. It was amazing. Like we sat there, it was like we had known each other our whole lives. We started sharing testimonies. And I remember that you were the first person that was so encouraging about me self-publishing a book, because whenever you're at an event, a lot of times they try to talk you into doing traditional publishing, which is
Mhm.
wonderful too. But you were the first one that
Mhm.
gave me hope. Hey, you can do this. Tell me how that was,
Oh,
because you've had a
I
highly
love
successful
it.
self-published book.
Oh, yes. Well, I was honestly, that's all I ever heard about was traditional publishing, especially at these conferences. But I knew so many people that were discouraged waiting for that
Yes.
opportunity because it really, I don't know if your listeners are familiar with the process, but it's very hard to be traditionally published just to like break in.
Yes.
And so I found myself growing really, discouraged, waiting. I think it was like 5 or 6 years I was just not getting anywhere.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm going to try, like, there's a message God's given me. I don't want to wait. I'm going to just put it out there.
Yeah.
And I felt like it was urgent too. So I struggled for a long time with that weight of wanting to change my
Yes.
husband, Marcus. I'm sure your listeners can relate to that weight of change, because
Absolutely. Yes.
it's like you love someone so much and you want so much more for them, and it can come out just sideways because you want it so badly, and so it comes out with like nagging and complaining, and really like carrying that messiah complex of thinking you can fix somebody, which we can't. So when God started to free me from that, it was really through consistent prayer. I
Yes.
woke up early every morning and prayed over different areas of my husband's life. And I honestly just felt so much lighter, like God was releasing this burden that was so
Yeah.
heavy on my shoulders. And it makes sense because when we pray, we are exchanging our will for God's will. And I was
Absolutely.
learning how to trust God with his future.
Yes.
I was learning what my job was, what my job wasn't, and what God's job was. And he really started to show me that. So once I started to get this breakthrough in my life and saw my husband getting breakthrough in different areas of his life, I felt like God was really, challenging me to share this with other women. And he often does that. You'll get freedom in an area of life, and it's like, okay, now go help everyone else that's struggling.
Absolutely.
So
And
yeah, I went through the yeah,
you were at She Speaks. Was it the year before that God had planted that on your heart about that you were going to come back and write the book, or how did that work?
that was that the summer that I released it? Was that last year or the year before
So I was
that we
there
met?
last year, but you
Last
had written
year.
your book the
Oh,
year.
it was the
Had you?
next year. Yeah,
Yes.
that's right. So I released it the year before. That's
Yes.
right. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. So it
And
was a year into the,
you've created a
yep.
movement.
Oh, well, thank God it was a message that people needed, because
Yes.
that's the worst when we're like we want to share something, but maybe it's not the right time, or certainly there are things that we struggle with and not everyone else struggles with, but this seemed to
Yeah.
be something a lot of people struggled with, and so yeah, it was very I hate to say that like successful, but it just resonated. It resonated really deeply, and so that really led to me getting a traditional, book deal with Baker House Publishing.
Yes.
Jennifer Dukesley, I don't know if any of your followers know who she is, but she's just the
Yes.
sweetest, warmest,
Oh, yes.
just
She's actually
precious,
she
precious
is.
woman.
She's actually going to be on my podcast in April, so I'm so excited.
She is
She
not.
is. I'm so excited. That's why I'm trying to get
I
everything to get. I
love
told
her.
Cody yesterday, I was like, I have got to get my life together over these next
Ah,
couple months, because you know how it is when you're
hilarious.
writing a book. You're just
Mm-hmm.
it's hard. And then I homeschool my youngest four. So it's
Oh
it's
my
not
gosh,
it's
Andy.
just a juggling act. That's why you've helped me so much. I can't tell you how much you've helped me just getting
Oh, I'm so glad.
direction. You know what I mean? Like that's why I said
Yes.
when I made that, sometimes whenever our plans fall through, just like I thought I was going to be meeting my best friend, and then, plans fell through, but God intricately placed you in my path and placed these other women in my path to help me make
Yes.
this happen. You know what I mean? Even though sometimes
Mhm.
we're out of our comfort zone, but that's how God
Yes.
works. You know what I mean? So God just says,
Yes.
look, your plans may have changed, but I've got something in mind for this weekend. I've got something in mind that's going to help
Yes.
you with this journey,
Right.
because He knows me and He knows that I need that
Mhm.
support. And sometimes writing is isolating. You know what I mean? That's why I feel like it's so important to have a community with anything with ministry, like having other prayer
Yes.
warriors with you, having other women that have the same visions, that have the same morals and values, and, being able to pray with you and
Mhm.
walk alongside you in that journey.
Oh my gosh, I was just telling my teenage son, I have two boys. Reese is 8, Jet is 16. But I was just telling him about how important it is to have like-minded people in your circle that are going after the same things. Our pastor always said that you're the average of your 5 closest friends. And
Yes.
so I by surrounding ourselves with people that we even want to be like. I have friends that are in their 70s. I'm meeting one of them for lunch today. Just
Yes.
having women that are further along spiritually, and then being a Titus 2 women, it's also having those women that are younger than us that we can pour into and
Yes.
walk alongside. But yeah, Andy, I totally agree, especially with writing. It can be very lonely, and so we need each other to spur each other on, and
Absolutely.
and no one's competing. Like, we're talking about the gospel. Like, we're talking about sharing these
Absolutely.
messages God's given us. So let's all just help each other, find more women that need our messages. Yeah, I love it. I love that God brought us together in that way.
Yes, I love it too. So the pray for him, were you expecting, since it was your first self-published book, and
Mm-hmm.
were you expecting the success that you've had? Because tell them, I know that you don't like to brag, and it's not bragging, it's me telling you because you have every right.
Okay,
You have
fine.
bragging rights, sister. But tell them how many copies that
That's
you
so
have
funny.
sold.
I want to say, I mean, definitely over 100,000. Yeah.
Yeah, which
Over
is
a hundred
amazing.
thousand. And yes, and see, Andy, I didn't know what was normal. And so I was like, I think it's doing well. I think it's resonating. And I ended up getting a literary agent, and I told her, she's like, how many copies of Pray for Him have sold? And I said, 60,000. And she's on the phone. She kind of like choked up, and she's like, whoa, 6,000? Did you say 6,000 or 60,000? I said 60,000. And she's like, Amanda, that is crazy for a
Yeah.
self-published book. But I will say, like, there was a lot that I did, because I feel like a lot of times we put so much love into the words that we write,
Yes.
but then it kind of stops there, and we don't put as much time into finding the women that need it. And so there was a
Yes.
lot that I did to try to find those people. But yeah, I've just been blown away at how the Lord has used it. The best thing for me is getting a message from someone who's like, I, was on the brink of divorce and almost gave up. And when I made prayer a consistent part of my life, like, it literally has changed how I've seen my husband, the patience I have towards him. And, every story is different, but I've gotten
Mhm.
so many stories like that because,
Love it.
when we're praying, it's God changes our hearts. Let's be
He does.
honest.
He changes the position of ours to, instead of like selfish
Mm-hmm.
things, it's like you're, like you said, trading our will for his and whatever he has, his plans, because his plans are so much better than
Yes.
our own.
Yes. It reminds me of 1 John 5:14 and 15. And it's the assurance that we have in prayer. It says, when we pray for anything according to his will, he hears us. And if we
Absolutely.
know that he hears whatever we ask, we know we have what we have asked of him. And that those two verses have given me so much confidence, especially in my marriage, because when I started praying every day, and now, I mean, it's not perfect. I don't pray every single day now. I need to get back into praying every day. But I had so much peace and assurance, because I'm like, I am praying over everything. So that means God is giving me everything according to his will. And there
Yes.
is so much confidence in that, according to
Yes.
his will. I'm like, okay, even now, even when things aren't great, even when my husband's still struggling with anxiety, God is
Mhm.
sovereign, and I can trust
Absolutely.
him with my husband's future. I can trust him with my future, because I know he's giving me everything I need according to his will. And so I love prayer, and I love inspiring other women to get excited about prayer, because it changes everything. I really believe it. When we pray consistently, it really does.
It absolutely does. And to know that
Mhm.
you have, like, just because of your obedience to God and writing that book, that so many marriages, so many women have viewed. A counselor told us years ago that we're in a generation where if something is broken, a lot of, like, we're taught just go get a new one. You know what I mean? And there is such
Yes.
an attack on marriages. And, like, I feel like it's so important and so vital to encourage other women, especially like the younger generation, and even in their 30s or 40s, whatever phase, but especially the younger generation too, that no, you can absolutely, the enemy comes to steal and kill and destroy marriages. He hates the idea of
Mhm.
family. We know that, especially whenever you're
Mhm.
starting to try to, live for God. I feel like there's even more of an attack that he wants to try to destroy. I've seen that in my own life. But
Oh,
whenever we get out of the
absolutely.
mindset that it doesn't have to be thrown away, that God can step in, and, nothing is too dead for God to
Mhm.
resurrect whenever you're all in for God
Mm.
and you surrender it to him.
Yes,
But just being able to
that's right.
speak that life over other marriages and other women, that's so important and so
I
valuable.
agree. And I think, yeah, to your point about that, like, people throwing away what's broken, I think really cancel culture has had so much to do with
Yes.
that.
Yep.
It's like, oh, that person, there is no hope for them. Like, let's write them off. There's no hope for redemption. And that is so far from the truth. I mean, my
Absolutely. Yeah.
husband and I have been through so much. We don't even have time to get into all the things we've been through. But I will say to most people, we should not be married today. There is
Yeah.
no way people thought we would come back from some of the things we have come back from. And if I would have believed the lie of the culture, that
Yeah.
that person is too broken. I'm too broken. There's no way I'll come back from this. I'll always be this way. Like, this is
Yeah.
going to define me forever. Well, that's shame. That's a voice of the enemy. But
Absolutely.
I think a lot of people believe that, when it gets hard, in marriage, and it does, as you know,
Yeah.
it gets very hard.
Absolutely.
Um, but there's nothing impossible for the Lord. I think we forget who we're serving here and what
Yeah.
he's done, what he's proven himself to be throughout our scriptures, throughout the Old Testament, through the resurrection of Jesus Christ. I mean, he can do anything, but I think our role is, prayer. I just keep going back to prayer. Our praying moves the hand of God. It really does.
Absolutely.
And having godly counsel is so important too, because I'm not going to
Yes.
pretend I know all of your listeners' stories. And I know there are some things, unfortunately, there are some things where, we know biblically that you can walk away. I'm not going to pretend,
Absolutely.
we live in
Yes.
a broken
Yes.
world. We know that there are some things that happen,
Yes.
and it's devastating. Both things, it's devastating. Divorce is devastating. No choice is
Yes.
easy, right? Every choice is
Absolutely.
hard.
Yeah.
But I there we serve a God who can do anything, and he can move mountains, and so yeah, I believe in the power of prayer, and I'm so excited to see so many women start praying for their spouses, and
Yeah.
men. So there's pray for her too.
Yes.
um I've had a lot of men ask me when it started to go viral, on
Yeah.
TikTok and things, hey, where's ours? We want to pray. We want to pray for our wives.
Yes.
So that was
And I
really
love
cool
that
to see
too.
that.
And
Yes.
combining those together creates a movement in marriage and in family, like a whole dynamic.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah. Like, it's like you were saying before, the enemy is attacking the
Oh,
family
he
unit. I
absolutely
mean, we
is.
see that.
And I
Yes.
feel like
We see that every day.
that's why it's so important to lean into voices, because I know whenever we walked through very rocky stuff in our marriage, that you hear voices like, and just like you said, the voices saying you'll never get through that, there's no hope. But then you have those select
Mhm.
ones that are saying, but with God, all things are possible. You have those things. And I feel like that's
Mhm.
why walking back and helping other women, like even through my book and through your books, and being able to be that voice whenever they need it the most. Because sometimes when you hit rock bottom and you hear a lot of voices saying, oh, just throw in the towel, you just walk away. And like we said, there are
Yes.
instances where that is absolutely okay. That's why God gives us free will and God gives us choices. And I believe that when we are in the will of God, that God, sometimes there are such situations where it's better to walk away and God will redeem that story. But it doesn't mean that your story is over. Like I talked about in my
Exactly.
book, there's a chapter where I talk about walking through fire and getting the breath knocked out of your lungs, and
Mhm.
how, even Lazarus, going back to Lazarus and the Bible, and how, there was the stench of death and he was dead for 3 days. And then Jesus showed up. So nothing is too far gone for Jesus to resurrect.
Mhm.
And I believe that, like, no story is over until God says it's over. And we
Mhm.
need that voice. You know what I mean? And that voice, sometimes we listen to the culture around us or other voices around us where maybe it's not coming from a Christian standpoint, or maybe it's not coming, you got to discern those voices that you listen to and you lean into, especially during hard
Yes.
times. Like, I feel like that's
Mhm.
so vital whenever you're in a vulnerable state, or if you're walking through a separation, or if you're walking through whatever it is in your spiritual life or hard times. We all go through storms. We're either, a former pastor of ours once said, you're either in a storm, you're have went through a storm, or you're getting ready to go through a storm. Like, everybody's got storms and we've all got
Yes.
seasons. Sometimes we
Yes.
just don't talk about them much. And that's what I want this podcast and this book to be, is, authentic, and being able to talk about real life
Mhm.
and talk about the hard stuff and give hope, because women need hope.
Oh, we all need hope, and you're so
Yes,
right. It's through our stories.
absolutely.
When my son was like you said, there's always a storm. one of the many storms in my life. My son was diagnosed with leukemia, and he's in remission now. Praise the Lord. But
Yeah.
when he
Praise
was
God.
diagnosed, I found myself in the lowest point I was at. The one thing I wanted most was I wanted to know how someone else in a situation that I thought was worse than mine, like just
Yeah.
a situation that was really bad. I'm like, I want to know how this person got through it. I need hope,
Yes.
to your point. And
Yes.
I had my scriptures. I was so encouraged. The Lord was meeting me there. But I found myself in that moment. I really wanted to know how someone today got through it. And
Yes.
I looked up the story of, he's actually one of my friends now, but Davy Blackburn, he's a pastor. His wife was murdered 9 years ago in a home invasion. It was like all over
Oh
the
gosh.
news.
I've heard this story.
Devastating.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes, I remember.
devastating. And our pastor was his mentor. And so I had remembered our pastor talking about him. And I'm like, okay, not that we should compare pain because that's not helpful. We all
Yes.
have pain,
Yeah.
and it's very real to all of us.
Yes.
Comparing isn't helpful. But
Yes.
I was comparing in that
Yeah.
moment. I was like, his
Yes.
story is worse than mine. How did he get through it? I
Yeah.
mean, surely there's no way someone can recover from that. And I looked him up, and not only was he okay, God had used this terrible thing that the enemy obviously was hoping would destroy Davy to build this amazing ministry called Nothing is Wasted. And it is just beautiful. He has podcasts, he has small groups that churches across the nation are using, but it's designed to take someone from their pain to their purpose. Like, what is the thing that's happened to you, and how is God going to use that in your life to
Yeah.
make you more like him, but also how to help other people. So it's such a actually, I went through it when I was reading about his ministry. I'm like, oh, I
Yes.
need this. But that was one thing that the Lord used to really help me in a low season. And I was going through it with other people, in
Yes.
community. Having community when we go through
Yeah.
these hard seasons is so important, because like we were saying before, there are so many voices. And I
Yes.
just think it's wisdom to find voices that you trust. And so even like with my marriage, there are some women I would never talk to about my
Yeah.
marriage, because I see that
Yes.
that's just not an area in their life that I would want to emulate. We all have I'm not saying
Yes.
anyone's any better. We all have areas of struggle, but there are some women who I highly respect in that area. And that those are the women I've gone to and said, hey, can you teach me more about like how you've lived this out?
Yeah.
How did your husband get to where you're at today? What's the
Yes.
secret? So
Yeah.
I just think that's wisdom, is
Absolutely.
knowing
Yeah.
and praying too. Like if you're someone listening and you don't have that, just praying like, God, I need more godly women in my life. I need more women I can go to and talk to and feel safe with, and women I want to emulate. And also I want women to come behind me, that I can mentor
Yes.
and walk alongside. I just think that is how the Lord has designed church to be. And that community is just a beautiful gift he's given us.
Absolutely. Like that's so,
Mhm.
and God will absolutely send you exactly who you need. Just like I was talking about being all
Yes.
alone at She Speaks. And, in every season, God is going to send you the people that you need. And sometimes in certain seasons, He'll remove certain people and you may have to mourn that. But He will
Oh, it's so
down the
hard. I
road,
hate it.
yeah. And
Mhm.
then, but down the road, He will, place other people in your path that are going to help you in that season and that are going to, guide you and help, just support you. I feel like that's huge. Now, you
Mhm.
also walked through cancer, right? Was it breast
Yes,
cancer? Yes.
yes.
Was this
Mhm.
after
Yeah.
Reese or before?
It was after Reese. Yes. It was actually not even 2 years ago. It was like a year and a half ago. Not last October, but the October before. So October 2024.
Was
Yeah.
this during your book? Was this like as you were writing?
Yes. Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
It was actually like during the momentum of the book. So I was in this beautiful season of seeing the Lord just work in amazing ways, through this
Mhm.
devotional, while also mourning my health and not knowing, what my future looked like, and finding out, I didn't just have breast cancer, but that it had spread to my lymph nodes, and then wondering, oh my gosh, does this mean it's spread throughout my body? I mean, it was just a very
Yeah.
scary time.
Yes.
Praise the Lord, they were able to get it all, and I didn't have to go through chemo. I just went through radiation, and I've been doing some hormonal therapy. But everything we walk through, I just try to get curious and ask the Lord, like, what is it that you're trying to teach me in this season? Because
Yes.
there's always something. And
Yep.
with Reese, it was I didn't know how to feel my pain. I would numb out with wine
Yeah.
and different things. And with Reese, the Lord was really teaching me how to feel my pain before Him,
Yeah.
and grow in my intimacy with the Lord. And now I was just talking to my mom about this. I said, I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting to see. Like
Yeah.
I think I know like what the Lord's is teaching me, but I'm still
Yeah.
processing it. But it's just, I think, a great way to look at these things that happen. Because, like you said, we're all going to have something. It's coming.
Yeah.
If you haven't been through it yet,
Absolutely.
it's coming.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we live in a broken world. Jesus said, in this world, you will have tribulation, but take heart
Absolutely.
because we know He has overcome the world. And so we know there's hope in it. But yeah, I just think it's given me like a lot of purpose in these things I walk through. Because I know the
Absolutely. And
Lord's doing
just
something. Yeah.
and having that mindset that He'll work all things together for the good for those who love Him, and that sometimes things that look absolutely horrific, down the road, God can bring beauty from some parts of it, even though it's hard to you view it like that at the time, that God will
Mm-hmm.
still work through it, just like you said, because that's how life is. Like we're especially like I kind of now that I know that is it Jude that's 16? What's
Oh,
your son?
Jet?
Jet. Okay, Jet.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Did
he
you say
is
Jew? Like
I said
Jew?
no, Jude. For some reason I was wanting to say
Oh, I
Jude.
was
No,
like, why would I name my son Jew?
no.
Okay.
I know why I'm thinking Jude because of
Oh, hilarious.
Kept. Her new collection is called Jude.
Jude, yes,
Yes, that's why I
Tara.
was thinking
Yes,
Jude
we're
because
great
your son
friends.
was your son
Yes.
in the promo pictures you and him.
Yes, he
Yes.
was.
Okay, that's why I was thinking Jude. Yeah, but he's driving like
Yes.
girl driving like my twins Hudson and Paisley are going to be driving. I mean, they're driving now with the permit, but they're going to have their license in a couple months. And I'm at the same time like boy, girl, and
Oh
I'm
my
stressing it. But that's
gosh.
another thing of surrender.
Ah, yes, it
How
is.
have you
It's
handled
so
that aspect with him driving
well.
now?
He got his car. We actually posted it on Instagram. It was so cute. He was so excited. But we got him his car on Christmas Day. But he actually doesn't get his license until like March 4th. So we're
Okay.
still waiting for him to get his. But we have been letting him like drive around the neighborhood by himself, just because
Yes.
he can't wait. He's just so
Oh
excited. So
yeah.
he'll drive
Yes.
in our neighborhood. We're not letting him like drive on the road. But
Yes.
no, I don't know. I think with Life 360 and all of those apps,
Yes.
I think
Yes.
that makes me feel safer. And he
Yes.
actually is a great driver. He's pretty
Yes.
responsible. So I'm hoping, I feel like I'm going to be okay with it. But it's
Yes.
hard not to worry. It is.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Like I have a lady that was in my small group last year. She has kids that are grown now, but she said when you have to put, we were talking about putting the baby in the basket. She was like, when you put that baby in the basket, make sure you got Love 360 on it. I was like, yes,
That
like
is
thank God for life.
hilarious.
Thank God
Yes.
for Life 360. Like, you know what I
Thank
mean?
God.
Like it'll even track
Yes.
miles, like speed for like Hudson will ride with his cousins or he'll ride with friends. And like within a couple minutes of pulling out of our drive, I'll know the speed they're going. So I called him and I was like,
Uh-huh.
they're going way too fast. I'm going to come get you if y'all don't slow down. So,
I
I love
know.
that it can track how fast. And they've got dash
We had it
cams now.
so easy. I know. We had
Yes.
none of this. Our poor parents had no idea what we were
Oh,
doing.
I
We know
know.
everything.
Yes.
We know everything. You can't get away with anything. Yeah, I'm so thankful for those apps, honestly. But at the end of the day, I'm like, we're not going to be able to track them all the time. Like there
I
are
know.
ways around everything, and although
There is.
that provides a lot of comfort, I'm like, Lord, I want you to build those boundaries in my son's heart. I want you to build these values in his heart. And just the other day, he was telling me, he was talking to this girl and she wanted to go to a party at school. And he's like, I don't want to put myself in a situation like that where I would be tempted
Yes.
to do something I don't want to do. And he liked her. And he's like,
Yeah.
I just don't think like we want the same things if that's where because she was like
Yeah.
pressuring him to go. And
Yeah.
I've never told him you're not allowed to go to
Yeah.
parties. I've never
Yeah.
said that because it's never come
Because
up
sometimes
yet.
they'll do the opposite of what you say.
He
I'm
did it.
learning that. you know?
I
Sometimes you have
just
to
like
let
it's
them
never
learn.
come up. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh
So,
my gosh, I was telling my husband Marcus, I'm like, he he made that choice on his own, you know?
yes,
Because
and
we
that
always
makes
say
you
like
feel
close the
good.
door on temptation. Don't even keep the door open to temptation. If there's don't put yourself in situations where you even be tempted. And so for
Absolutely.
him to even like create that boundary for himself, like I don't want to go to parties. I was like, oh my
Yes.
gosh, thank you, Lord. I'm just gonna keep praying he continues to feel
Oh,
that way. So
absolutely. I love that.
yeah,
Mine will say stuff like that too. And
I love it.
I feel like kids, of course, now that we're grown and have our own kids, we're like, but we were so different then, but really we weren't. But I do feel like this generation, it's harder, whenever it's your babies, surrendering
Yes.
that, because we talk about surrendering,
I
different things to
know.
God, surrendering your babies. But something I heard that is powerful is you cannot protect them from their testimonies. They're going to all have their testimonies too. And
That's
sometimes
right.
that's hard to sit back and, because I'm a worry wart about stuff, especially
I
driving,
know. I
especially
know.
driving. That's going to be hard. Worrying about
No,
them
well,
both
I'll
at the
be
same
praying
time.
for you. You tell me when you're,
Yes.
yeah,
March,
when
girl.
they get the
March. We're going to be in the
March for
same
you.
boat.
Oh my gosh. Wait, what day?
March 25th. Now,
Okay.
Hudson
All
doesn't
right.
get his until a little bit later because he had to, because in Kentucky, it's a permit test. They can get it now at 15, but they had gotten him on different dates. He was working and doing tobacco and stuff in the summer. So they got theirs on different dates. So she's going to be able to get hers a little bit sooner than he is.
Okay.
So that'll
Okay.
at least help get our feet wet a little bit. Like she'll be driving and then
You're not
he'll be
ripping off
going
the
for his,
Band-Aid. You're
yes,
slowly, yeah, one at a
yes.
time. That's
Then
so
he'll be going
funny.
for his
Okay, well,
license.
you start praying for me then, because I'm coming up a couple
Oh, yes,
weeks.
sooner. Yes. Oh my gosh. Isn't it crazy that February? So here I'm saying it's 2 months. It's actually like a month away, like 5 weeks
It
away,
isn't.
something like that.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
crazy
February
how time
13th.
is passing so quickly.
Mm-hmm. It's actually really scary. I feel like the older we get, it just goes faster and faster and faster. I'm like, oh Lord, help me stay present, help me enjoy the season I'm in. Because as a mom, it's so hard sometimes, and it's
It
like, oh, I
is.
just can't wait to get through the teen years. But everyone says, when your house is empty, like you're gonna miss it.
I
And it's just
know.
that perspective they have. I'm like, obviously, not everyone is lying. We are
Yes.
probably going to miss it. So I'm like, just help me stay present and enjoy, the season that I'm in. So,
Yes.
yeah.
How do you do juggling motherhood? Like
You
motherhood with
know,
work and stuff. You know what I mean? Like
I
sometimes I feel like
know.
that's why I said
I
it's like
know.
chaos all the time for us because we've got 6 kids that are all in different sports,
Oh,
and then I homeschool the
girl.
youngest 4, and so sometimes I feel like everything is chaotic. But I mean, it's for the love of chaos. It is chaos. But I juggle the chaos. But like, what are ways that you've seen that's helped you juggle motherhood and like being present in the moments too? Like when you work from home, sometimes it's hard.
Yes. Oh, it's very, very hard. My friend, she was just getting interviewed about this, and she's like, I don't balance it. I don't juggle it. She's like, there
Yeah.
are some seasons where some things are just more of a priority.
Yes.
And I still, when I am with my children, I am present. My phone's
Yes.
down. I'm on the floor with Reese, where we always like to play Uno and Clue and different board games. But I will say, if you have the means, there is nothing wrong with Uber Eats, and there is
Oh
nothing
yeah.
wrong with paying to get your laundry done sometimes. When
Yes.
you are when you feel like you're pursuing something that the Lord has put on your heart, for example, writing a book, girl, it takes a
Yes.
lot of heart and time and energy.
Yes.
This past few months, I have ordered more Uber Eats that I would be embarrassed to tell you how often. Because I'm like,
Hey, that's okay.
I could cook today. I could do the laundry today, but then I would have no time for my kids. And so
No, I
I have
know.
had to, there are some weeks where I just can't afford to get my laundry done, but it piles up.
Oh,
Okay. And it
girl,
is
like
what it
right
is.
now,
I don't care.
speaking
I'm
of
like,
laundry, like if you
whatever.
walk into my
Yeah.
living room, that it looks like a laundry bomb has went off. Because I'm like, kids just carry it and put
Yes.
it in there. So literally, my living room big area rug is full of laundry. But it's
Yes.
okay. It's okay. Like we
But
got to
keeping
just
things in
sometimes
perspective.
you have to embrace the mess, even if it triggers our anxiety a little bit. Sometimes,
Especially if you're like us and you like things to be perfect, right?
Yeah.
You like things
Yes.
to just be clean. And
Yeah.
and that's something that we have to let go of, is that control. And I'll be honest with you, I love going to a friend's house. I went to a pastor's house a few years ago because I was taking piano lessons. That lasted a
Yeah.
month, by the way. Um, but and it was chaos. Every
Yeah.
time I was at his house, it was a mess. The
Yeah.
kids were crazy. And I
Yep.
was like, I just want to thank you for not feeling
Mhm.
like you have to clean your house for me. Like I just love that we're all going through this together. We're
I
not
love it.
perfect. We're doing the best we can. So please,
Yes.
if you're a listener and we ever connect and I get to go to your house, please don't clean it for me. It honestly
Absolutely.
comforts me. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Like, embrace the messy.
Oh,
Love
yeah, like,
it.
I was sending my cousin because she is in a season she has 5 kids right now, and she has twin
Mm.
boys, and I went to her house last night, she was like, "It's a mess," but we were sending each other pictures, so we were kinda swapping. I was like, "I just wanna ask in for a friend, what kind of aesthetic is this?" And it was like a little devotional with a sticky sucker stuck on it. Like, one of the
Oh, I
kids had, like,
love
chewed up one of
it.
those, like, Tootsie Roll suckers and then sat it
Yes.
down. I was like, "What kind of
Yeah.
aesthetic is this?" You know? And then, like, we
That
have the
is so
picture
funny.
with the laundry and the half open Bible and then the coffee cup. Like, that's just the season that we're in, and I'm just embracing it. Sometimes our season, whenever we think it's going to look a certain way, just like we said, sometimes it changes, and sometimes that's just life. Sometimes we're trying to do all the things, and we cannot do all the things. If we're going to be a
Exactly.
present mother, sometimes we can't cook dinner. Let me tell you another hack: pick up a
Right.
rotisserie chicken. Sometimes I love a rotisserie chicken, girl. I'm like, here you go,
Sister.
kids.
Yes.
When we go
It's
to the Sam's
amazing.
Club or
And you can use the
Costco,
leftover for all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
yes, like,
Yep.
here is a chicken. This is
And
our
it's like
dinner.
$6, $7.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I was, like,
I love
slinging
it.
toast on
If
the
I
way
can
out
feed my
here. I was like,
family for $10, sign me up.
yes. Like, you just
Mm-hmm.
gotta do what you gotta do. But that's a
Mm-hmm.
part of surrender and
Yes.
all the good things. But I have loved having you on
Yes.
today. Thank you so
Oh,
much,
me too,
girl.
girl. We
You
had
are
so
the
much fun.
best.
That was best conversation. I love talking to you. So
Yes, I love
thanks for
talking to
having
you
me.
too.
Loved
Yes.
it.
So tell them where they can find your books, because she's also writing another book right
Oh,
now. But where can they buy
yes.
your books at?
Oh my gosh. Yes. So actually Target, it just came out in Target.
I
So you can
loved
buy it
saying
at
that.
any Target. Yes. So
Yes.
Target, obviously Amazon, my website, amandahayhurstwrites.com. I actually have a lot of freebies on there too. And I would love to connect with you on Instagram. I love to message back and forth and just get to know people. And so you can find me on Instagram. Yep.
Absolutely. I love it. Well, thank you so much, girl. I'm so excited for this episode, and
Thank
I'm
you.
so thankful that you came on today. All
Oh,
right. Bye,
thanks,
girl. Thank
girl.
you so much. Thank you guys
Right.
for
Bye.
listening, for the Love of Chaos podcast.